Hey guys, Pete Sanctions here. Been a while since I posted a video, and I'll get into that in a minute. I did open up a second WWE Topps WrestleMania 36 retail box, blaster box. And kind of was having a rough week mentally at that time. I ended up deleting the video, just going through a mood or a phase or whatever you want to call it. And I'm adjusting my antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication to compensate. And I've been doing okay since then. Everything seems to be doing fine with the COVID-19 and the distancing and the isolation and all that. And at the risk of dumping out all the cards again and doing a reveal box on that, I'll just share with you guys the relic that I unearthed from that box, and it is a Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy card featuring Jeff Hardy. And I would assume here that this little piece, the gold piece here, is either a miniature representation of the Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy or a miniature representation of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy piece that was molded like the statue of Andre. Like they took pieces of it or a version of it and then molded it into a miniature version of the trophy. But that is the relic from my second WWE WrestleMania 36 Topps blaster box break. From that video that was deleted. I was in a mood and I was like, oh, this is horrible, or oh, there's too many mistakes, or I'm rambling too much. So that was the relic from it. One more time, take a look at that. And for this video, I decided to come back after a little bit of an absence with something different. This time, and this exclusive content can be seen on my Patreon. If I do get some subscribers, you can go to patreon.com/PeteSanctions for $5 a month. You'll have access to exclusive content, including the trading card pack break and blaster box breaks videos, wrestling figure reviews, wrestling figure unboxings, wrestling book readings, and reviews of that type, and reviews of all sorts of memorabilia and merchandise from my own personal collection. You'll also have a live video Q&A that I'll do once a month for the subscribers. That's $5 a month. And all Patreon subscribers receive a free Pete Sanctions trading card from the Missouri Wrestling Revival trading card series that came out a few years ago. I believe they were 2 series or 3 series deep. I was part of series 2. That features me as both a ring announcer and referee back in those days, with biographical information on the back. Each one of my subscribers will get a free card shipped to them at no cost. So $5 a month, patreon.com/PeteSanctions. Get on it. I'd like to see who can race to be my first subscriber to that. And you'll have access to wrestling figure reviews and unboxings, which is what I have here. Now, this might look like I just got takeout, but nothing could be further from the truth. There is a series of stores in the Old Market District here in Omaha, Nebraska, where I lived, called the Imaginarium. One of them is the Imaginarium Mercantile. Each location boasts these things called mystery boxes. And in these mystery boxes, for like $5, $10, $20, they will either be labeled with a certain pop culture or vintage item: WWE, X-Men, Star Wars, Pokemon, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, anything you can imagine. Some of them, like this one, are labeled, in this case the WWE one, for $10. Other ones are kind of like the item boxes in the Super Mario universe. They're just yellow with the white exclamation point on them. And the mystery is part of the fun. You never quite know what you're going to get. And I have not opened this, so I'm going to open this in front of all of you guys to see what I got. And just by the sounds of it, there might be some loose Hasbro figures in here, or Jakks figures, because those are the 2 that I'm currently collecting right now. A lot of my friends in the wrestling figure community are deep into the Mattel series, and I haven't quite made that crossover yet. I do have the History of the Undertaker 6-pack, but I am going to be giving that away to charity, to a friend of a friend who is having a kidney transplant, and is going to be doing a benefit show that I'll be performing stand-up at here in the Omaha area. I can give you a link to that description, just kind of tell you a little about that story. But at the moment, I have a WWE mystery box from the Imaginary Mercantile store in the Old Market District in Omaha, and I want to thank them. I'll give them a shout out on the YouTube video as well. So without further ado, let's open this up and see what we got. And with the trading card reviews, it's pretty easy to show you guys the front and back of the cards in detail. I do have better lighting in my kitchen nowadays in the HD video, so hopefully the figures translate as well to you guys on the video so that you can see the details. But here we go. And I'm not going to look as I'm opening it. I want to be genuinely surprised here. So I'm looking away. I have something here, and it is Hideo Itami. And this is the Mattel Basic Series, Hideo Itami. And the differences, just right off the bat, between the Mattel figures and the Jakks figures is the scale. The Jakks figures had sort of a wider base and then just kind of a wider build to them. The Basic Series of Mattel is not posable on both ends. The Elite Series and the Legends Series and the tag teams, the battle packs, what have you, I believe it's the Elite, the Legends, and one or two other series. What they do have is an indentation right along the abdomen so that the front part and the back part are posable. And I don't know if it's just my OCD or something else, or if other figure collectors feel this way, but that indentation and that kind of separation from that part of the body to the rest of the figure throws me off. It kind of just turns me off. I don't know why. Not to say that these figures aren't detailed and they haven't rushed through the series and given us so many figures of the current WWE superstars and former WWE superstars and different sub-series and all that, that I dare say Jakks wouldn't have been able to capitalize on, or if they did, it wouldn't have turned out so well. But they have managed to really make a killing for themselves in terms of the different series. They are like, if I'm correct, because I don't, again, I don't collect the Mattel as religiously as I do the Jakks and the Hasbros, but I think they're up to like 50 in the Basic Series. They're up to 35 in the Elite Series. The battle packs are these basic ones like Hideo is right here. And then the different legends, the different defining moments, like there's a Classic Superstars one, different like entrance subsets, exclusive figures for ringsidecollectibles.com and wrestlingfigs.com. I believe the most recent exclusive, if I remember correctly, for the Mattel line was the Unmasked Kane, and then there was the New Brood Hardy Boys tag team series. That was the latest exclusive, but this figure at the moment is Hideo Itami from the Mattel series. There's the logo on the side, the former Kenta, for all of you fans of Puroresu, and the early NXT shows. The knee pads do move. Pretty good articulation on the face as well, and on the kick pads, but that is Hideo Itami. There is indentations in the feet. I don't know if there are display stands or a different way of displaying these Mattel basic figures, but the first figure in this mystery box, is the Hideo Itami Mattel basic figure. And moving along, not looking, what else do we have here? We have another Mattel basic figure. There's no indentation. This time it's the Prince of Pretty, Tyler Breeze. And the particular gear is the gold and maroon tights. And then the gauntlet bands in the same design, but that is Tyler Breeze. Brilliant execution on the facial scan. And figure collectors, sound off in the comments. Kind of help me better understand the Mattel line here. I don't know if the real scan technology or the R3 technology was patented or was it carried over from the Jakks license to the Mattel license and that's how they articulate the figures, or is Mattel doing something different to get them to look so lifelike, like here. But this is the Basic Series Tyler Breeze and the furry boots. And the perfectionist in me is a little disappointed that these aren't actually furry, but beggars can't be choosers. I don't know if you all remember the Classic Superstars early series George the Animal Steel, but there were variants of that figure that had regular hair, actual painted on hair, and then another, I think there were 3 variants total. Regular hair, painted on hair, and then another different type of hair that actually felt fuzzy when you touched it. But that's beside the point. The second figure in the mystery box is the the basic Mattel series Tyler Breeze. And as I mentioned, the only Mattel thing I have is the Undertaker 6-pack, but I'm giving that away to charity. So these are my first Mattel figures that I'm actually getting, So we move on to number 3. Looks like it's the last figure, so there's 3 figures in this box total. Let's see what we got for figure number 3. We got another one, Mattel Basic. This time, this man is 7 feet tall, and for a long time in WWE, you couldn't teach that. We're talking about Big Cass, who now wrestles on the independent circuit. I believe the name, if I have it correct, is KAZ or KA, like CAZ, with the name he's wrestling at currently on the independents, but that is Big Cass. And to demonstrate the scale, if I can do that, between the two, I think the biggest complaint in figure collectors that Mattel versus Jakks weren't to scale, meaning Rey Mysterio was as tall as The Undertaker, or the Great Khali was as tall as Jack Swagger. Like, they weren't to scale, but if I have them lined up correctly and if my eyes aren't deceiving me, they're either as tall as each other, or Cass is a little bit taller than that. But that's Big Cass. And the reason I guess they call these basics is that there's no indentation on the abdomen, no points of articulation in that regard. And then also, not to say that these aren't detailed, but they might call these basic because they're not as detailed as, say, the Elites or the other subsets of the Mattel series, etc., etc. So, but they still do try to duplicate the artwork and the designs you see on the front. Big Cass on the front of the trunks there. And I think that's an indentation of Enzo in the middle. And on the back, there's an indentation or a design of New York. The city, the skyscrapers, and the buildings. Good scale on the face. So, in this mystery box from the old market Mercantile, the subset of the Imaginarium stores, we have unearthed from this mystery box 3 Mattel basic figures. Hideo Itami from NXT, Tyler Breeze, I'm not sure if that's NXT branded Tyler Breeze or not, and then Big Cass. So that will do it for my first wrestling figure review video. And also, feel free to comment in the comment section if you're a wrestling figure aficionado like myself. Kind of give me a background on the Mattel series, when it started, what they're planning to do with it, what figures from the Mattel series do you recommend? Do the collectors go more for the Elite series than the Basic series? Does the Basic series offer more superstars sooner and more frequently than the Elite series? Like, for example, if I wanted to get a figure of Apollo Crews, would he be available right in a Basic series and I could get him right away if, the stores around here would stock them? Or is it something to where you have to wait maybe a week or 2 longer than normal, but then you get him in the Elite series and he's way more detailed and way more articulated because they took that extra time to put the figure out? And also, I'll leave you with this. There was a Twitter Q&A with the former head of toy development at Jakks, Jeremy Padawer, Padawer. I am a member of WrestlingFigs.com as well. He was a frequent contributor there. We got to know him through the different video interviews at Toy Fair or whatever, but he was doing a Twitter Q&A, and he actually answered a few of my questions regarding the Classic Superstars line when it came to Jakks. And I think, if I'm correct, he still does something in toy development. I'm not sure if it's still with Jakks, but that was pretty cool to speak with him and get feedback from him, because let me tell you, my first exposure to Jakks was Christmas Day, 1996 or 1997, whenever the first series of Superstars came out. And my cousin, who lives in Orlando, Florida, I don't think she was in Florida at that time, but she got me the entire first series of the Jakks Bone Crunching Action Superstars Series 1 figures, besides Diesel and the Ultimate Warrior and the glow-in-the-dark Undertaker. So I got all those, and I was pleasantly surprised, because I honestly don't know if I'd seen them in stores prior to that, but that started it all as far as my Jakks collecting phase. The Hasbro collecting phase was all the way back when I was a kid, and when they were a couple, you could buy a couple of them for $10.99 at KB Toys back then in the 90s. So that was where my Hasbro fandom started. Christmas 1996 was my Jakks fandom, and wouldn't you know it, May of 2020, in the midst of a global pandemic, if I may put it lightly, that was my introduction to the Mattel series, and so far I like what I see. A dilemma that I had, if I may be a little long-winded here, is, if I started Mattel collecting, I would only want to collect the basic series to start with. The only problem with that is that the basic series is already 35 to 40 series deep. So I would have to start at the beginning if I really wanted to and work my way up, spend a lot of money, which is a little harder nowadays than when I was a kid because adulting. And just want to point out, even though I do have the Undertaker 6-pack, I also do have a retro series Kevin Owens, and I'm trying to track those down if I can. The Walmarts here in Omaha really don't carry them. I don't know if that's the case for the Walmarts in nearby Council Bluffs, Iowa, or other parts of the city. I haven't really looked into it that deeply as yet, but I do have the retro Kevin Owens. I'm trying to track down certain ones from the series and display them in my Hasbro ring that I recently picked up from another Imaginarium location, because there's a little bit of outrage in the figure community of them discontinuing the series or not continuing it, because I think it was really doing very well. It was the Hasbro customs of today's current superstars that we were all looking for and hoping for. And for them to just suddenly pull the plug on it and go in a different direction, that upset a lot of collectors, including myself. But I'm trying to track those down while I still can. So YouTube, there you have it. The first wrestling figure opening on this channel. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Like and share this video. And subscribe to my Patreon at patreon.com/PeteSanctions. $5 a month. The price of a cup of coffee, the price of a regular meal at McDonald's if you're being cheap that week or whatever. But take care of yourselves and each other. I'll be back for another wrestling trading card opening video. I do have two sets that I want to open here. The first set will be the Heritage set from 2015 with the Walmart exclusives in it. See what kind of relic I can unearth on that. And then the big one, as I knock over my meds, the big one is the WWF action-packed 1995 retail box. This ain't just a normal box of the cards. It is a full retail box. And I only have a few small handfuls of the 1995 set, so that is exciting. I'm excited to see what I'm going to get in there. Maybe I can snag the 24 karat leaf cards that were put in there as chase cards in the subset. So that's what we got coming up. Again, take care of yourselves and each other. I will see you next time. Have a great Easter week and stay safe. See you next time.